Apparently Prince Harry is already talking to divorce lawyers.
I mean, I think that the marriage is very nearly finished.
In this video, we're revealing what really went down behind Harry and Meghan's explosive fight in New York. The one the royal world can't stop talking about. It was supposed to be their big, "we're stronger than ever" moment. But what unfolded on camera told a very different story. The looks, the silence, the tension. Every second was caught for the world to see. Stay till the end, because when you find out what happened after the gala, it might just change everything you thought about this couple. Tell me in the comments, do you think Harry and Meghan can still fix this? Or has their fairy tale finally reached the point of no return? But first, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon, because what we're about to reveal has everyone talking.
Poor old Harry and Meghan. I mean, you must feel sorry for them. I mean, can you imagine being involved in an 80-mile-per-hour, 2-hour car chase on the island of Man?
The night began like any other royal appearance. Cameras lined the streets, fans screamed, and reporters shouted questions as Harry and Meghan stepped out of their sleek black car.
She's not there when she's needed. It's very interesting because initially she held one hand with one of her hands, and another hand was holding his arm, so he couldn't move more than a few inches away from her.
Meghan, glowing in a diamond gown, smiled with confidence. She waved to the crowd, every inch the star the cameras loved. But Harry was different. His face looked tight. His eyes didn't shine with excitement or pride. Instead, there was something distant, cold, almost as if he didn't want to be there.
He will be absolutely devastated. He is obsessed with her. He does think she's Princess Diana #2. He does think she's connecting with her somehow.
As they walked towards the red carpet, photographers yelled, "Look here, Meghan! Smile, Harry." But Harry barely lifted his head. He stood back while Meghan walked forward, posing for solo pictures. People started whispering, "Is he upset? Did they fight?" Even royal experts later said, "That was the first moment we all knew something was off." Then came the moment that changed everything. Cameras caught a short clip, Harry looking away as Meghan tried to take his hand. He pulled back slightly, forcing a smile for the cameras. That clip spread everywhere within hours. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, all filled with one question. What just happened to Harry and Meghan? But what the cameras caught next shocked everyone watching. Inside the grand ballroom, the lights dimmed and Meghan took the stage. It was supposed to be her big moment. She was being honored for her charity work, especially around children and social media. She looked stunning.
For her, but they had the name in 2015, I believe, and it's quite right. If they got it first, they should hold on to it. Why not? That's what they're known for. And I thought it was typical of the fact that they move very quickly. They go from one thing to another thing to another thing.
Her voice was calm, her speech rehearsed, but to those who watched closely, something felt off. Harry sat at their table, clapping politely, but his eyes told a different story. When Meghan mentioned the importance of being kind and truthful, Harry's jaw clenched slightly.
Never really spending proper time learning about it, studying it, investigating it. And so how can you do that? Don't you, as you say, naturally check that?
The camera zoomed in, and that's when people noticed it. The look. That silent, icy glare that said more than words ever could. Online, people began calling it Harry's evil eyes. Memes exploded, and analysts started replaying the clip frame by frame. After the event, guests said Meghan left the table early. Harry stayed behind, chatting with a few guests before disappearing into a side hallway. Later that night, Meghan was spotted eating alone in her hotel's restaurant. No Harry in sight. Paparazzi photos showed her smiling faintly, but her eyes looked tired, lost.
I don't believe them. I don't know. I haven't been in contact with them. But whenever there's something negative about them in the papers, and we get that quite a lot, there's immediately something very positive about what's going to happen to them that comes in the future. And it's just sort of corny, really. They obviously have to try and...
The sparkle of the red carpet had faded fast. Why would Harry act this way at such a big night? A night that was supposed to be about them standing strong together. To understand the tension in New York, we have to go back to Paris. The city of love, but for Harry, a place of pain. Paris holds the darkest memory of his life. It's where his mother, Princess Diana, died.
Woman that the papers are citing for this reporting is a longtime royal insider, a socialite. She's been right. I've been following her because she's great TV. She's been right about a lot. And she's claiming she's heard from several sources now that he's hired a lawyer, and it happens to be somebody who's a great divorce lawyer and specializes in divorce.
Every streetlight, every tunnel is a reminder of that night. A few months before the New York Gala, Meghan reportedly took a solo trip to Paris. It was labeled a business trip, supposedly related to her podcast and a fashion project. But one detail caught everyone's attention. She filmed a segment near the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, the very same tunnel where Diana's car crashed in 1997. When Harry found out, insiders said he was devastated. One close friend revealed he couldn't understand why she'd choose that location. It felt like reopening an old wound. Harry's grief over his mother's death has always been raw. It's what made him leave royal life. The constant cameras, the pressure, the fear that history would repeat itself. So when Meghan filmed there, even for work, it felt like betrayal. Was it really work? Or was there something much deeper behind that decision? Those who know Harry say that after the Paris incident, something changed. He became quieter, withdrawn, more irritable. For years, Harry had been the protector, defending Meghan against the tabloids, against his own family, even against the crown itself. But now, insiders say he began to feel unprotected himself. One former staff member said, Harry started talking less. He didn't want to attend public events. Meghan kept pushing forward, but he was emotionally somewhere else. At home, the tension grew. Small disagreements turned into long silences. Harry's friends said he often went on late-night walks alone, sometimes with his phone turned off for hours. The New York Gala was supposed to fix things, a show of unity, love, and teamwork. But instead, it became a public reminder that their private world was falling apart. Could this have been the start of their silent breakup? The moment where love turned into distance? Then came another twist. One name that started appearing again and again. Marcus Anderson. Marcus isn't new in Meghan's life. He's been her close friend for years, long before Harry entered the picture. He's stylish, confident, and works with Soho House, the elite private club where Meghan once found her social circle in Toronto. But lately, fans and insiders started noticing something unusual. Marcus was everywhere, at events, dinners, even photo shoots. If Meghan was there, Marcus was never far behind. In New York, just days before the gala, he was seen arriving at the same hotel as Meghan. They were photographed having breakfast together, smiling, laughing, deep in conversation. Harry wasn't there. Rumors started flying. Is Marcus just a friend, or something more important in Meghan's world? Some said he was her confidence coach. Others whispered he was her new royal strategist. But one insider put it simply: Marcus understands Meghan's world, maybe more than Harry ever could. And that's when the questions began. Was Harry feeling replaced? Not romantically, but emotionally? Is Marcus just a friend, or someone much more powerful in this story? As months passed, people noticed a change in how Harry appeared in public. At events, Meghan took the spotlight, speaking passionately, shaking hands, posing confidently, while Harry stood a few steps behind. Smiling politely, clips went viral of Meghan walking ahead, cameras flashing, while Harry awkwardly followed. In one event, she reached out to fix her hair. He thought she was holding out her hand. She didn't notice, and he quietly dropped his arm. It broke the internet. Fans called it the saddest moment yet. Others said it showed a man who no longer knew where he belonged. One of Harry's friends reportedly said, he feels like a guest in his own marriage. That phrase spread like wildfire. A guest in his own marriage. Even supporters of the couple started to worry. Was Harry losing himself again, just like when he was trapped inside the royal palace years ago? When love turns into performance, can it really survive? The cameras always tell half the story. On red carpets, Meghan shines. Confident, glowing, unstoppable. She knows her angles, her best smile, her story. She thrives under pressure. Harry, however, has always hated it. The lights remind him of flashbulbs outside the Ritz, the last night of Diana's life. The shouts, the chaos, the unstoppable hunger for pictures. So imagine being him, standing next to your wife, surrounded by cameras you fear, while she embraces the fame you can't stand. At the New York Gala, that contrast was clearer than ever. When Meghan smiled for photos, Harry turned away. When she laughed, he looked at the ground. It wasn't anger, it was pain. A quiet, haunting kind of pain that comes from living a life that feels like déjà vu. And people started to realize, maybe it's not Meghan versus Harry. Maybe it's Harry versus his past. But that past is part of their present. And no matter how far they move from the palace, those royal shadows follow them. Can someone who hates fame live with someone who lives for it? The night ended just as it began, with flashing lights and forced smiles. Harry walked a few steps ahead as Meghan waved to the cameras behind him. Their car door opened. Meghan slipped in first. Then Harry followed without a glance. The door shut. And for the first time that night, there were no cameras, just silence. But what really happens when the lights go off? Sources close to the couple say they barely spoke on the ride back. Meghan stared out the window. Harry scrolled through his phone. One insider shared, "It's like they were two people living two different stories. One for the public, and one for themselves." The next morning, Meghan posted a motivational quote on her Instagram page. "You can't control how people see you, only how you see yourself." Harry didn't post anything. Fans noticed. And that silence said everything. Their fairy tale, the one that began with love against all odds, with rebellion and freedom, now felt like a quiet, fading echo of what once was. Was it the fame? The pressure? The ghosts of Diana's past? Or simply the reality that sometimes love isn't enough when the world keeps watching? Whatever it was, that night in New York marked something final. The sparkle was gone. The smiles looked rehearsed, and the fairy tale that once inspired millions seemed to dissolve into a story of pain, distance, and misunderstanding. What really happens when the lights go off? When the cameras stop flashing, and the truth finally stands alone? So what do you think? Was this just a bad night between two tired people? Or have we just witnessed the quiet collapse of one of the most talked about couples in the world? Some say this was only the beginning of something much bigger. That what happened in New York wasn't an accident, but a reflection of years of buried emotions finally breaking through. Others believe it's all part of the spotlight, that every couple has moments like these. Only theirs are magnified 1,000 times because of who they are. But one thing is clear, the fairy tale has changed. And maybe, deep down, both Harry and Meghan know it too. Because love may conquer all, but under the constant glare of fame, even love can lose its way when the cameras stop flashing, and the truth finally stands alone. Silence becomes louder than applause. The black car rolled through the New York streets that night, headlights slicing through the drizzle. Inside, Harry and Meghan sat in opposite corners, their reflections blurred in the tinted glass. Neither spoke, not a word, just the hum of the engine, the rhythm of the rain tapping against the window, and the unspoken tension that filled the space between them like fog. Harry's hand rested on his knee. He wanted to reach out, to say something, anything, but every word felt too heavy, too risky. Meghan looked out, her face half lit by passing streetlights, her jaw tight, her eyes distant. That was the moment both of them realized they were no longer fighting the world together. They were fighting each other, quietly, painfully. But what happened after that car door closed would shake everything they'd built and reveal the truth neither of them wanted to face. The next morning, New York felt different. Reporters camped outside their hotel, waiting for a glimpse. Paparazzi lenses pointed at the revolving doors, but the couple didn't appear together. Meghan left first, styled, smiling faintly, waving at fans before stepping into a waiting SUV. Harry came out almost an hour later, alone, wearing a grey hoodie and baseball cap pulled low. That small gap between their exits didn't go unnoticed. Headlines exploded, "Separate departures for the Sussexes." Commentators called it symbolic. A reflection of where they are as a couple, Inside sources said that after they returned to their suite that night, an argument broke out. Voices weren't raised, but the silence afterward was deafening. Harry reportedly spent the night in the adjoining room. One staff member later told a tabloid, "You could feel the distance." They were polite to each other, but not connected, like two co-workers. Not husband and wife. Meghan, ever the professional, went on with her planned schedule. A podcast interview, a brand meeting, and a charity lunch. Harry, on the other hand, cancelled his appearance at a veterans event that afternoon. Was this just exhaustion? Or had the cracks finally turned into fractures? That afternoon, while Meghan attended her event, Harry reportedly received a call from someone unexpected. His brother, Prince William. They hadn't spoken directly for months. Most of their communication happened through aides or short texts, but this time, William called personally. He'd seen the New York footage, the clip of Meghan reaching for Harry's hand, the clip of him pulling away. Sources say William's tone wasn't angry, it was concerned. "You look lost, mate," he allegedly said. "Whatever's going on, don't let the cameras decide your life." Harry's reply was short, almost bitter. "You wouldn't understand." After hanging up, Harry sat for a long time staring at his phone. For years, he'd fought to separate himself from that royal world. The press, the control, the judgment. But now, miles away, he was starting to see the same pattern, just wrapped in different packaging. Could it be that in running from one cage, Harry had found another? Days later, something unexpected hit the internet. A short, muffled audio clip from inside the New York gala. It wasn't clear who recorded it, but you could hear Meghan's voice, calm but firm, and Harry's lower, strained tone. Meghan, "You said you'd support this." Harry, "I did. But not like this. Not again." The clip was less than 10 seconds, but it spread like wildfire. Podcasts, tabloids, and talk shows all dissected it, debating what it meant. Fans started guessing. Was Harry talking about publicity? About her speech? About the fame he couldn't handle? Meghan's team refused to comment. Harry's friends said it was taken out of context. But by then, the damage was done. Their privacy, the thing they'd left the royal family to protect, was gone again. And this time, it wasn't the palace leaking stories. It was their own circle. If the walls around them were crumbling, who was really holding the camera? Back in California, the couple's routines shifted quietly. Meghan threw herself into projects, brand meetings, production calls, charity launches. Her calendar filled fast. Harry spent more time at their Montecito home, often visiting a nearby polo club or taking solo hikes in the hills. Neighbors described him as polite but quiet. One local said, "He walks like a man who's thinking too much." Photos started to show the change. Meghan attending events with friends. Marcus Anderson appearing beside her again, while Harry was seen walking his dog alone. Even on social media, their dynamic changed. For months, every major post featured them together, holding hands, smiling, united. Now, Meghan's posts focused on her work, while Harry's charity page stayed silent. When connection fades from public view, does it mean it's gone behind closed doors too? Behind the scenes, their closest friends were divided. Some sided with Meghan, saying she'd carried the weight of criticism for years and was finally reclaiming her voice. Others stood by Harry, saying fame had swallowed the simple love they once shared. Marcus Anderson remained firmly by Meghan's side. Insiders said he became her rock, especially during business negotiations. But Harry's longtime friends from the UK felt uneasy. One reportedly told a journalist, "She's building an empire. He just wants peace." Tension grew even among their team. Staffers noticed how meetings turned awkward whenever both were present. Meghan spoke with authority, planning campaigns and schedules, while Harry often stayed quiet, listening but rarely adding input. Were they still partners? Or had they become two people living separate lives under the same name? Then came the project that many insiders say changed everything. A new documentary offer from a major American streaming company. It promised a raw, behind-the-scenes look at life after royalty. The money was huge. The control was theirs, but the concept split them apart. Harry wanted something honest, real emotions, their challenges, their healing. Meghan wanted it polished, inspiring, empowering, image-driven. Meetings reportedly turned tense. He wanted to talk about therapy and grief. She wanted to highlight brand partnerships and motherhood. At one point, Harry reportedly said, "I'm not a product," to which Meghan allegedly replied, "But this is how we survive." That sentence became a turning point. For Harry, it echoed everything he'd tried to escape. Being used, being watched, being part of a story not fully his own. The documentary was eventually delayed. Creative differences, the company said. But insiders claimed the real reason was emotional. Harry walked out of filming halfway through, when your truth and your partner's truth no longer align. What story can you tell together? Months passed. They were still together, officially, but the closeness was gone. Meghan traveled to New York, London, and Toronto for work, while Harry spent long stretches in California. When they appeared together at public events, they smiled for cameras, but the spark that once defined them, that electric energy of rebellion and romance, was missing. Even the media began noticing. Phrases like calculated warmth and silent unity began appearing in headlines. A former palace insider said they used to fight the world hand in hand. Now, they're fighting silence with smiles. Sometimes the loudest breakups don't happen with screaming. They happen with silence. Meanwhile, Meghan's star kept rising. She signed new brand deals, launched her lifestyle platform, and returned to the public spotlight. Independent, confident, commanding her narrative. Her team promoted her as a symbol of self-made strength. She started speaking more about female independence and self-identity after transition. People couldn't help but notice the shift, the subtle drop of phrases like "we" and the embrace of "I." In an interview, when asked about Harry, she smiled softly and said, "We're both evolving, growing into who we're meant to be." That single sentence fueled endless speculation. Was it independence or an admission of distance? When love becomes a brand, does the person behind it disappear? Harry, on the other hand, began to retreat further. He stopped attending high-profile events and started focusing on mental health initiatives quietly, off camera, often refusing interviews. He was spotted several times at a veterans center in Santa Barbara, spending time with former soldiers. Locals said he seemed peaceful there, grounded, away from the glare, but even peace can feel lonely when it's earned through isolation. A close friend shared, "Harry's happiest moments now are the quiet ones. No cameras, no PR, no applause. But he misses the version of Meghan who laughed at small things, not the one negotiating contracts. Can someone who's running from fame ever live with someone who's chasing it?" Then, one unexpected moment brought them face to face again. A private charity gala in Los Angeles. Neither was supposed to attend. Harry went as a surprise guest, invited by a friend. Meghan appeared later that night, representing her foundation. When their eyes met across the room, guests described the moment as icy but emotional. They greeted each other politely. A handshake, not a hug. Cameras captured it, of course, and the photo went viral within hours. Under the chandeliers, they stood for a brief conversation, smiling mechanically, nodding for the cameras, exchanging a few words. Then, Meghan moved to another table. Later that night, a journalist tweeted, "Two people who once fought the world together now look like strangers sharing a stage." Sometimes love doesn't end in flames. It fades in front of flashbulbs. Weeks later, reports surfaced that Meghan had quietly moved some of her belongings to a new residence closer to Los Angeles. Her spokesperson called it temporary for work, but tabloids weren't convinced. Harry stayed in Montecito, continuing his projects, often visiting the UK privately to see friends and family. Insiders say there was no dramatic breakup scene, no shouting, no slammed doors, just a quiet understanding that their paths had diverged too far to meet again. They didn't unfollow each other publicly, didn't release statements, didn't confirm anything. But those close to them said everything had already been said in silence. When two people built on love, rebellion, and dreams part ways, what remains? The fame, the legacy, or just the echo of what once was? Months later, Meghan continued her work, polished, powerful, present. Her speeches touched millions, her brand flourished, and her voice remained strong. Harry kept his promise to his mother, staying devoted to causes of mental health, veterans, and children. But those who knew him said his eyes carried the same heaviness Diana once had, That quiet sadness of someone who gave everything to love and still lost himself along the way. The world kept talking, kept guessing, kept spinning stories. But behind all the noise, there were just two people who once believed love could beat the odds, and learned that even love can't silence every shadow. Maybe the real question isn't what happened to Harry and Meghan. Maybe it's what happens when love meets the spotlight and the light burns too bright to survive.